Welcome to a deep dive into the world of AI in education. And no, we're not just talking about robots in the classroom. Although, how cool would that be, right?
I'd settle for a robot that could, grade my essays.
Right. Who wouldn't? But seriously, we're focusing on something even more fundamental. How do we equip students to navigate this AI-driven world we're living in?
Exactly. And thankfully, we have these two brand new UNESCO reports to guide us, sort of. They've basically laid out competency frameworks for both teachers and students, kind of like a roadmap for AI education.
Perfect timing, too. It feels like every day there's a new headline about AI. I mean, from those self-driving cars finally hitting the streets to that AI art that's, taking the internet by storm.
It's moving so fast. It's lightning speed, which is exactly why these frameworks are so crucial. We can't just stand on the sidelines and wait to see what happens, right? We need to be proactive in shaping how this technology is used and understood, especially in education.
And UNESCO seems to be on the same page there. Their mission statement really jumped out at me. Since wars begin in the minds of men and women, it is the minds of men and women that the defenses of peace must be constructed.
That's always been their core belief, right? But it takes on a whole new meaning in the age of AI, don't you think? We're not just talking about peace treaties. We're talking about equipping, young minds with the critical thinking skills and ethical awareness to navigate this whole complex landscape of AI.
Giving them the tools to build a better future, one algorithm at a time.
Exactly. And that's why this deep dive is so important. We're going beyond the hype and getting into the nitty-gritty of what it actually means to be AI competent in the 21st century.
Okay, so let's start with the teacher framework.
Yeah.
I have to admit, when I first heard the term AI competency, I pictured teachers writing lines of code on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's much broader than that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this isn't about turning every teacher into a programmer. No, it's about giving them the knowledge and skills to approach AI thoughtfully and integrate it, effectively into their teaching.
So give us the rundown. What does this AI competency actually look like for educators?
Well, UNESCO breaks it down into a really helpful framework, actually. It's got different levels of progression.
Okay.
You imagine it like climbing a staircase, right? At the base level, they call it acquire. Teachers are, just starting to step onto that first stair, just getting a feel for what AI is all about. They might be learning how to debunk, common myths about AI or exploring basic AI tools, or maybe even just having those initial conversations with their students about the ethical implications, just starting to dip their toes in.
Okay, that makes sense. Building that foundation of understanding first.
Yeah.
So what's the next step on this metaphorical staircase?
That would be the deepen level. This is where things get really interesting because teachers are starting to move beyond the basics, right? And they're starting to engage with AI on a deeper level, thinking critically about which AI tools are appropriate for their classroom, considering potential biases, and really figuring out how to use these tools in a way that enhances, not hinders, their students' learning. So it's a more nuanced approach, I guess you could say.
So it's not just about knowing how to use the latest AI gadget. It's about making informed decisions about when and why to use it.
Exactly. And they're also thinking about the big picture too, like how AI might reshape their subject area in the years to come. Imagine a history teacher, for example. They have to grapple with how AI-powered research tools will change the way we understand the past, right?
That's a great example.
Yeah.
It's not just about adapting to the technology itself. It's adapting to the ripple effects it creates in our understanding of the world.
Precisely. And then we get to the top of the staircase, the create level. Now, this is where things get really meta because now we're talking about teachers who are not only using AI in their classrooms, but also advocating for ethical AI policies in their schools and communities. They might even be designing their own AI professional development programs for other educators. So it's really next level stuff.
Wow, so they're becoming leaders in the field, not just consumers of it. They're not just using AI, they're shaping how it's used.
Now you're getting it. It's about empowering teachers to be active agents of change in this AI-driven world, right? They become the mentors, the guides, the ones shaping how AI is understood and utilized in education.
This is all fascinating stuff, but I have to admit I'm particularly curious about how this translates to the student experience. What does it actually look like for them to develop this AI citizenship? What does UNESCO recommend for students?
So the student framework, it's structured pretty similarly to the teacher one, actually, with those same levels of progression: acquire, deepen, and create. But instead of focusing on, pedagogical skills, it dives into the knowledge and disposition the students need to thrive in an AI-saturated world.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Give us a peek into the student experience at each of these levels. Like, what are some of the key things they're learning?
Well, at the acquire level, it's all about laying that foundational understanding. Students are, wrapping their heads around what AI is, how it works, and its potential impact on their lives.
So kind of like AI 101,
Yeah.
but probably way more engaging than your typical intro course, right?
Soulfully. Think hands-on projects, interactive simulations, maybe even taking apart a simple AI-powered device to see how it ticks.
I love that. Getting their hands dirty, so to speak, right from the start.
Exactly. And then as they move into the deepen level, things start to get really interesting because now they're applying that foundational knowledge to real-world situations.
So less about the what of AI and more about the so what.
Precisely. They might be analyzing how AI is used in social media algorithms, for example, or evaluating the accuracy of information they find online.
Ooh, that critical thinking piece feels especially important these days.
Right.
With all the.
Absolutely. We're essentially talking about raising a generation of savvy AI consumers and citizens, not just passive users.
Okay, I'm already seeing how this could lead to some really engaging classroom discussions. Like, imagine having students debate the pros and cons of facial recognition technology, or analyze the biases in the algorithms they use every day.
Exactly. And that's exactly the kind of critical thinking that this framework is designed to foster. And then we reach the create level.
Hit me with it. What does AI mastery look like at this stage?
At the create level, students are becoming, well, creators themselves. They're not just using AI, they're designing and building their own AI-powered solutions.
Hold on, are we talking about high schoolers building their own robots here?
Not necessarily robots, though, though certainly a possibility. It's more about empowering them to see themselves as capable of shaping this technology, not just being shaped by it. They might design an app to address a local community issue, or develop a game that teaches younger kids about AI ethics, or even use AI to create original music or artwork. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
That's incredible. I love how this framework takes students from basic understanding to actual innovation. It really flips the script on how we traditionally think about education.
It really does, and that's what makes these UNESCO reports so groundbreaking. They're not just about adding another subject to an already packed curriculum. They're about reimagining the very nature of teaching and learning for the AI age.
It's like we're equipping students with a superpower, the ability to not just navigate this AI-driven world, but to shape it for the better.
Exactly, and that brings us to the most exciting part, the practical application of it all.
Okay, before we get there, I have to be honest, all this talk of AI competency sounds amazing, but I know some teachers listening are probably thinking, great, another thing to add to my already overflowing plate? What would you say to them?
That's completely understandable. It can feel overwhelming, especially when we're, already juggling so much as educators. But here's the thing. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. These UNESCO reports are packed with practical advice, resources, and examples that educators can start using right away.
Okay, so they're not just theoretical frameworks, they're actual tools for implementation. That's reassuring. Give us a sneak peek into some of the practical stuff.
Absolutely. For starters, they emphasize the importance of interdisciplinary learning. AI isn't just a computer science thing, right? It touches every aspect of our lives. So they encourage teachers to find creative ways to weave AI concepts into existing subjects. Imagine history teachers using AI simulations to explore different historical scenarios, or art teachers having students create art using AI tools.
I love that, bringing AI into the classroom in a way that feels organic and relevant, not just another box to check off.
Exactly. And they also highlight the importance of, ongoing professional development for teachers. They acknowledge that not everyone is coming to this with a background in computer science, and that's okay. They provide a ton of resources and recommendations for professional development opportunities that cater to all levels of expertise.
That's so important. We can't expect teachers to become AI experts overnight, right? It's about providing them with the ongoing support and resources they need to feel confident and competent in this space.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And the reports also go into detail about specific programming languages, tools, and platforms that are particularly well suited for teaching AI concepts.
Okay, now we're talking my language. Give me the details. Any specific recommendations for someone just dipping their toes into the AI education waters?
Well, Python is a popular choice. It's a versatile language that's relatively easy to learn. They also highlight a bunch of open source tools and platforms that are, specifically designed for education. Tools like machine learning for kids and Cognomits make it super fun and engaging for students to start experimenting with AI concepts without needing to be, coding whizzes.
Love that. Accessible and engaging. Those are my two favorite words when it comes to educational technology.
Mine too. And the best part is it's not just about learning these technical skills in isolation. These frameworks emphasize the importance of embedding them within a broader context of ethical considerations and social impact.
So it's not just about teaching students how to code, it's about teaching them why it matters,
Yeah.
the potential consequences, the ethical dilemmas.
Exactly. We're not just creating coders here. We're creating conscientious citizens who are prepared to grapple with the complex ethical and societal implications of AI.
Which, let's be real, is something even the experts are still figuring out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's so crucial to approach AI education with a sense of humility and a willingness to learn and adapt as the technology evolves. These UNESCO reports provide a fantastic starting point, but they're not meant to be static documents. They're meant to spark conversations, inspire experimentation, and evolve alongside the ever-changing landscape of AI.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Perfectly said.
This has been incredibly insightful. Before we wrap up, any final nuggets of wisdom for our listeners, something they can take away and apply in their own learning or teaching journeys?
One thing that really stands out from these reports is the emphasis on lifelong learning. This isn't something that we teach once and then check off the list. It's an ongoing process of discovery, adaptation, and collaboration.
It really is.
Yeah. And it reminds us we're not alone in this journey, right? These UNESCO reports are fantastic resources, but they're just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
There are amazing educators all over the world who are already doing incredible work in this field, like experimenting with new approaches and developing innovative tools and sharing their learnings with each other.
It's like a giant global AI education think tank.
Right.
Each of us bringing our own experiences and perspectives to the table.
Exactly. And the more we can connect with each other, share resources, and collaborate, the faster we'll all learn and grow.
I love that collaborative spirit.
Yeah.
It seems like whenever we approach these new challenges with openness and a willingness to learn from each other, amazing things can happen.
Absolutely. And, that brings us back to the core of what these frameworks are all about.
Right.
It's not about memorizing facts or mastering a specific set of skills. It's about cultivating a mindset, a spirit of curiosity, adaptability, and ethical awareness that will serve students well no matter what the future holds.
So well said. It's about equipping them not just for the jobs of tomorrow, but for the challenges and opportunities of a world that's being reshaped by AI in ways we can't even fully imagine yet.
Exactly. It's about empowering them to be architects of their own future, not just passengers along for the ride.
On that inspiring note, I
Yeah.
think we've reached the end of our deep dive. But this feels less like an ending and more like a launch pad, wouldn't you say?
100%. We've explored the frameworks, we've unpacked the concepts. Now it's time for all of us to take this knowledge and dive into our own learning journeys.
And for our listeners who are educators, I hope this deep dive has sparked some ideas and ignited some excitement about the possibilities of AI in education.
Me too. Remember, this isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about embracing a new way of thinking and teaching that will empower your students to thrive in this ever-evolving world.
Beautifully said. A huge thank you to you, our resident AI guru, for guiding us on this incredible journey today.
The pleasure was all mine. Always a joy to chat about this stuff, especially with someone as enthusiastic as you.
Well, someone has to keep things lively, right? But seriously, thank you again for sharing your expertise. And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI and education. We hope you're feeling inspired, informed, and ready to embrace the future algorithms and all.